to get those expansions twice as fast, because he really is relying completely on this Marine ground force build.
Yeah, I would agree. He is getting infantry weapons level 2, but like you said, the double eBay would be very effective. And if we look at Mouse Sector's natural that barely stood, oh, there he goes. He finally got guys back on gas. He was incredibly low on gas, and he did not have anything on there. And I mean, I would like to see him continue to upgrade. He does have the forge down there. Everything's at level 1. As there is a slight engagement up by Dr. D's base, but Jabu the Black and Bob able to clear it out pretty easy. Dr. D running off 7 gates at the moment. And it does look like everyone does have a second base at the moment. So we are on 2 base for everyone. The only issue is Gilgamesh is eliminated. Basically, 6 base versus 4 base.
And Gray actually is running off 3 bases now, as he took Gilgamesh's old base. So it is important to note, and he is throwing a second command center at this. So he's thinking about taking a third, or maybe he's just going to throw this down as a planetary fortress just to reinforce this pretty vulnerable base right here.
Yeah, I definitely like that play, and we do see Mouse Sector as well expanding to the bottom right there. But it does look like there is a push out full of Marauders, Stalkers, and Marines.
Wow, Mouse Sector throwing up 2 Nexuses down here as the second one just started. Let's see, we're only 18 minutes and 50 seconds into this game, but they are these engagements all around the map are taking this toll on all the players, and I wouldn't necessarily say that one team is ahead. Although the southern team is down a player, they've been.
And Dr. D is going to find these expansions.
Oh no!
Forces the cancel on one, forces the cancel on the other. Although Dr. D hadn't actually scouted that one. I guess it's still a good cancel because if it did finish, he would have been cut off from reinforcement, and he really had nothing there. There is an engagement up here. Gray is moving out with a siege tank and a bunch of Marines right into Jabu the Black's base.
We do see Gray's planetary fortress being shelled heavily, but he pulls all his SCVs off the line just in time, and I think he's going to be able to keep this alive as his allies move in to help clean that up. Wow, that was a bunch of Marauders just going down. And if we look at the top left as well, Gray was able to pick off an expansion of Bob's, I believe, killing a bunch of SCVs and a command center.
He's going to take down that siege tank, and he should really be focused firing Jabu the Black's command center right now. Instead of these SCVs, he can take this command center out and trying to morph into a planetary fortress. There's going to be no time for that. And I think these Marines did a great job, but I think their life has finally come to an end.
Yeah, no, that was really strong. The southern team has been able to stay ahead of their opponents in bases this entire game, so if they can continue to take out these expansions, Gray himself is on 3 already, and Mouse Sector has been on 2. So yeah, it's now 5 base to Doctor. I believe Jabu the Black's main is almost mined out. As Bob's is completely mined out. He's decided to move out, even though there's still a little bit of resources, still lots of gas left in his main, but he is decided to move out anyways. So we'll see what they're able to make of that. Two medevacs here from Gray, a little out of position, but he's going to bring his Marines up and engage this. I'm not sure if this is the wisest decision, but especially with those tanks being in range, those are really going to shell his Marines. And
at the same time, we have 3 Immortals battling some Stalkers and some Marauders, and the Immortals really need to push up and take out these tanks, so Gray could have gotten his Marines in, but it looks like it's too late for that, although he does force the command center to lift. There's just constant action everywhere here. Gray is rallying more Marines and more tanks, moving out with a huge force, although it does look like the expansion is up for Dr. D. They do have Zealots and Marauders, some very nicely positioned tanks by Bob here. I like this. They can shell the ramp there on the left at his natural if units try to get up there. It looks like there's about to be a huge engagement out here in the front.
There we go. Those medevacs doing a little bit of scouting, and they are going to be able to snipe this Nexus, it looks like. I'd like to see Race think about setting up his tanks to prevent the, when Jabu the Black and his allies move in to attack this. His tanks would be in position, but he's decided not to siege up, and he's continuing to move out. There is a few Marauders here from Mouse Sector. Marauders, Immortals, jeez. And, these Marines are running right into these tanks. Their Immortals need to be over here.
Yeah, the Immortals really need to get in front of there, tank that tank damage, and also deal their 50 damage shot to those tanks, so the Marines can then come in and pick them off once the tanks are done. At the same time, we just have constant Marine and tank production here from Greg. strictly Immortals, as Ground Weapons level 2 is about to finish for Mouse Sector. And I'd say they're definitely focusing more on the fewer unit composition, and then kind of hammering that home. And I do like what they're going for. Both Terran players here are kind of, well, Bob and Gray are both going Marine Tank, as we have Dr. D, or Jabba the Black, I'm sorry, going Heavy Marauder. And we have another little Strike Force Marines attempting to move up this ramp, and they're just going to get destroyed by these tanks.
Yeah, there goes. He really needs to stop engaging like this. He's really completely wasting his units. At best, he's going to kill maybe 1 or 2 of the enemy. That is just a pretty bad play when you know that your opponent has those tanks in position. You see them with your medevacs. Just pull back and get some kind of counter to tanks. Get a bunch of Marauders, or even consider teching the Banshees at this point would be very useful, as I don't think any of the opponents are really prepared for any air attacks.
Yeah, I definitely one thing to note in 2v2s and 3v3s is the position that Dr. D, Jabba the Black, and Bob have right now. They're all kind of focused right outside their natural, which is going to be able to 3 players then against 1 every time Gray tries to push, because he's pushing by himself with just those Marines and medevacs. He's basically fighting 3 armies with 1. And so no matter how big an army he's going to macro up, the chances are he's going to be severely outnumbered. So he really needs to push at the same time with Mouse Sector. It does look like Mouse Sector is massing up quite an Immortals. Take a look at the unit tab. He does have 10 Immortals with Protoss ground armor level 2 on the way. And it does look like Cloak is coming out for Gray, as well as 2 Banshees. So it looks like he heeded your advice there, Metchus.
Something I always like to see, but something I'd like to see even more than that would be Mouse Sector and Gray moving their forces out together, as all these Immortals are going to be essentially wasted to these Stalkers.
Poor Immortals.
And they're just not doing a good job of coordinating their attacks. They have good unit composition together, but separate and alone individually, they're just not. That's not good composition at all. So
yeah,
I really like
the Marines got there just in time, but I definitely agree with you on that one.
I'd like to see them maybe even consider giving unit control to each other. A really nice spread by Gray right there. I really liked that concave he got, almost instantly. But they should consider giving unit control to, their allies, and saying, hey, you micro the army. Well, I'm going to go back home and focus on getting my 3rd expansion, or macroing up my production facilities. So consider, always an option to do. A bunch of zealots being warped in here to defend against this. These forces really should try to focus down this pylon right here, as it's the only pylon powering these three cannons, I believe. So if they were able to take that out, they could do a bunch of damage here.
Yeah, they would be able to do ton. It does look like that Thor is going to make it out with his life. Although they're in a very awkward position right now. They're just kind of sitting in the middle of the naturals of the northern team with not a lot of forces. Although we do have some SCVs streaming along the bottom to expand there to the bottom right area. Gray finally got a base up. While we have more massive Marine reinforcements, as well as 4 Banshees cloaking and heading out across the map.
Yeah, I do like this play. This is what I was talking about. This is definitely what I like to see. They're going to catch these tanks way out of position. Tanks are sieged up. They do not know what's hit them. He should go up and get all those tanks. If he can get all those tanks, those are going to give him... What is he doing sitting here with these cloaked units? He needs to continue using them to pick off tanks. All these a bunch of these Marines can be taken out too. I really would like to see those Banshees go do something. They're just sitting there wasting their cloak. Now,
Gray is going to attempt to take on the planetary fortress. Jabba the Black needs to start repairing it. Those SCVs need to get on there and repair. They are doing it, but it's too much damage. It goes down. And those Banshees seem to have done a great job taking out those tanks.
Yeah, they did get scanned, but luckily 2 of them were able to move away. One of them with just barely, with 7 HP. But they did manage to stay alive, and now they're going to continue to do a bunch of damage against these Marines, and they might be able to snipe a Colossus or 2 if there's no more scans. This Banshee has a little more enough energy for a few more seconds of cloak, so I'd like to see him take out this. Yeah, there he goes. He does snipe 1 Colossus.
And these Immortals marching across the map here really just have no issue with those Colossus and the command center, and really any building here. Dr. D says, nice hold, gents. GG. Always very well mannered. You like to see that?
He's a doctor, after all.
That is true. He's highly educated.
I wonder if he's perhaps Dr. Dre. Whenever I hear Dr. D, it's the only doctor I could think of, but But wow, it looks like Gray and Mouse Sector are going to be able to hold this game and win it. The Mass Marine from Gray, good play. I really like the tech switch to Banshees. As I said, they were going to be completely unprepared, especially the Protoss. If he had his observers out of position, you could go in, take out a bunch of pylons, and depower a bunch of buildings. So I really like that use of the Banshees on the tanks. Dr. D and Jabu the Black have left the game. Bob leaves the game. The Northern forces have admitted defeat. And we just have to say, really good comeback. Well played by Gray. And his opponent, Mal Sector here. They started off in an early disadvantage, but they were able to come back.
Yeah, and I would definitely say the big thing that we could learn from this game, besides the fact that I thought it was a great game, there's just constant action going on everywhere, is Marine Mortal is a very good composition, but when you run Marines into a tank line and the Immortals follow behind, you really just end up fighting with Immortals. And at the same time, if you're running Immortals into Zealots, you're going to lose with more Marines. So when you're fighting in these 2v2s and 3v3s, you need to make sure to attack together, or else you're always going to be attacking at a disadvantage.
Yeah, part of the strength of unit composition is that those units are going to work off each other's strengths and weaknesses together when they're pushing out together. Not just individually moving them all around the map. So, like I said, don't be afraid to give unit control to your allies. It's something Axion and I do all the time. As we play our 2v2s, we'll decide that that's the best time to move out. So I say, hey, take control of my army. I'm going to focus on getting my expansion or really macroing up, or maybe he's going to do some harass to the back of the base while I macro our combined ground forces out to the front ramp. So something like that, it can really be useful, and take advantage of the fact that you have some allies in this game. It's a team game, so take advantage of that.
Yeah, and we hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time, keep getting better.